Welcome back to more mysterious and creepy TikToks that might just keep you up all night. I'm Jetski Chuck. For context, don't believe everything you hear or see on this video. It is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything. With that being said, hit that like and subscribe button and let's dive in.
Have you ever wondered why the word ship is at the end of everything? There's a hidden spell behind every word. Your body is 60% water, and you were born through your mother's waters. When a ship pulls up to its bay, it's called the birth canal. The ship gives birth to the products on the ship. When the ship arrives, it gets a certificate of manifest certifying all the products on the ship. And you arrive in your mother's water, you get a certificate of manifest, which is your birth certificate, because you are a product to the system. On that birth certificate, there's a date. That date is the Gregorian calendar, which is a copyrighted timeline created by Pope Gregory. Therefore, on paper, your name is a corporation and it's signed to a copyrighted timeline. When you get a letter and your name is in full capital letters, that's your corporation, not you. You can't tax a physical body, but you can tax a corporation. You are the I am, and your consciousness is identifying itself with the corporation, which is attached to the system. The word calendar comes from calends, which is the first day of the month the Romans had to pay their tax. God's calendar is a 28-day moon cycle. They made an artificial calendar to control you. A bank is a river bank, and money is water. That's why money in the bank is called a currency, because the banks direct the flow of the current. And that's why we call it liquidity. The English language is a giant spell to keep you attached to the system. Identifying yourself with the body and the name is keeping us attached to this system.
So you still don't believe that the giant Cyclops used to exist? Okay. Let me ask you this question. Who do these skulls belong to? So, these skulls have been found all over the world, and if you can't tell that this is a Cyclops, then you must be blind. Who remembers the film Sinbad with the one-eyed giant? Oh my days. In Greek mythology, the Cyclops is a member of a race of savage one-eyed giants. In the Odyssey, Odysseus escaped death by blinding the Cyclops Polyphemus. In Greek mythology, and later in Roman mythology, the Cyclops means the circle eyes or round eyes. But remember, mythology is just metaphors. So the Cyclops had one eye, so maybe they was talking about his third eye, the pineal gland, because what they don't show you is the images and the metaphors of the third eye. Because remember, everything is always spiritual, and it starts from that, and it goes right back to that every time. So you still don't believe that the...
I also heard it was possible to be mammoth skulls or elephant skulls as well.
Most people think the sun is a burning ball in space. But what if I told you it's not real? Beneath us, at the center of the earth, lies the black sun, a powerful, unseen core, spinning, pulsing, breathing. This black sun generates ether energy, the life force of the realm. It spirals upward through the polar north, through the axis mundi, the world tree, the celestial pole. When this energy hits the celestial dome, it splits. The plus-positive charge refracts and forms the sun. The negative charge forms the moon. But they're not physical objects. They are plasma manifestations, energy reacting with the firmament.
The thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomena, cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you are proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive, because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and a new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved. The moon seems to be of a quite different nature from what was assumed.
But the Americans and Russians are thinking of landing men on it.
Well, that will never happen.
That's why the moon isn't reflecting light. It's emitting it. It glows with a cold, silvery luminescence. Plasma X-ray field, showing transparency, depth, and even hidden landforms beneath. The sun burns bright because of focused energy. The moon phases change as the black sun coils in and outward like a serpent. When the energy overlaps or cancels, you get crescents, full moons, or new moons, and the stars, their standing waves of ether dancing across the dome. Unique energetic signatures like cymatic patterns, each fixed in its own toroidal field, projected by the black sun. You've been taught to look up for answers, but the truth is, everything above is a mirror of what lies below. This is for entertainment purposes only.
None of this information is factual. For entertainment purposes only. Do your own research on everything.
The first thing I want to teach you is how to use your lungs. Okay, so I'm going to change the way that you breathe using sound. Okay, so if you put an H before you breathe, it'll sound like this. And I want you to feel your lungs fill up, okay?
Okay.
Good job, all right? And you're going to feel them, probably for the first time in a long time. Okay, and you're going to get pressure in your lungs. You can feel them, right? So squeeze your lungs. All right, now since you can feel them, you can squeeze them. Give them a squeeze. You can squeeze your lungs, so you're making them contract. And you'll feel like tension inside. You feel that? Okay, once you got that tension pretty good, just relax your lungs like you are exhaling, but just keep your mouth shut. And all the air is going to go into your lungs. And you're not going to have to exhale. You just got to stay calm, let the muscles go. And if you feel your muscles stiff, let them go. Wherever you feel that stiffness, let it go. And then you're going to feel the air start to go into your body and you won't have to exhale. Yeah. There you go. So that's how you use your lungs, okay? But the trick is you must, once the air fills up, you got to take it somewhere. So you took it inside your lungs. And then as soon as it started to get there, because you're pulling it pretty good, you just relax it. And as you relax it, it inhales. Like it's breathing itself versus you breathing. So the first thing I want to teach you is how to use your lungs.
As crazy as that sounds, I think we're on to something. Drop in your thoughts below how we could, the advanced techniques to this. Did you guys do it? You activating your lungs for the first time? Lord knows my lungs need it.
People ask me why their grandparents or great-grandparents never talked about the reset. Why don't they remember anything about it? Well, let me try to explain it. First, there were the Cabbage Patch Babies. Now, these weren't just toys, you see. They became a symbol of something much bigger, a massive repopulation effort after the reset. These babies, they weren't born the usual way. They were produced almost mechanically in large numbers and distributed through a cold, efficient system. Strange, isn't it? Brings to mind ideas like cloning, doesn't it? And maybe that's why today you see so many folks who just seem to go with the flow. No questions, no thinking. Did you know they say nearly half the population doesn't even have an internal monologue? Imagine that, living life with a quiet mind, just following along. Those babies, those orphan trains, they were shipped off, along with abandoned children who had survived the reset, taken from their families, sent to faraway lands. Many ended up in America. And when they got there, they were given a new story, the official version of history. No elders left to tell them the truth, nobody to remember how things used to be. It made them easier to control, you see, easier to accept the new narrative.
If you ain't follow along, into the insane asylums you go.
The people I worked for in the end of the days, you're talking roughly about 8,500 people on this world who run the show. And they are like who I was. Completely afraid, nearly dead, filling up the holes daily, never enough, surfing the monster of greed, the monster of more. And there comes Lucifer in. And nature was nothing. It was to be destroyed. We were hating everything what represents life, what represents the creator of heaven and earth. don't take this very light. My turning point was that I was so good in everything I did with my team that I was, in their opinion, ready for the last stage to be invited and sacrifice. That hits me. That was really going through my bunker. I couldn't handle it. It was hitting me like hell.
Human husbandry. Raising humans like beef cows or cows in general. If you don't have your own biology, your own neurology, there's nothing of their system, wearables, software that you're going to do. They're 30 to 40 years ahead of you right now today, and not in your military. Black Projects starts from there so that they always have better equipment. I am deeply disturbed at how many people are still dancing in circles. They will take you out. You can't feel your own skin. Where's your piloerection? Yeah, welcome to cognitive neuroscience. There was never any reason that is good to lie to other humans about their immune system, their interstitium, their crystalline fascia, the way that the lobes of the brain work, and the way that you generate piezoelectricity with biotensegrity just walking around. Oh, it's a morpho field. That's your biology, your field that you generate with your blood flow and your breath and your heart beating. Yeah, turn all that off. So here's my message to humans until I get back. You need to get over yourselves. The aura has existed throughout time because of what I just said. It's biological, anatomical. It's how they do what they do with synthetic biology. Dear Lord in heaven, if it's good enough for a Nobel Prize, where are you? If it's been on the NIH for 10 years already, why can't you talk about it like an adult? No, leave it nebulous. Let's make them fight over religions. Well, that's hilarious. That's exactly what the Flynn Network has planned. That's hilarious. That's what the engineer just said a year ago. It's so funny to watch really incredible people struggle to communicate with one another.
Guys, a lot of this is running over my head, but I'm starting to grasp it a little bit. Piezoelectric subconscious. And I guess we harness that when we're walking. It's getting interesting.
Until the general public can admit their anatomy that they're using for all this, we're in trouble. Because people are out there now saying that, oh, the same type of goofiness, click your heels, you can have feels. Which I'm sure, looking at our community, they're like, well, isn't that what you tell people? No, what we tell people with education is that they're under people's skin. They are manipulating people, and that you gotta fight to get out from under the signal. And if they focus on you with enough of these different satellites, you fry. They won't admit that either. It's a slow kill system. I am very uncomfortable, I'll just be honest, because on the other side, mathematics-wise, well, the neural dust doesn't hold with wireless sensor networks as long. Okay, but they have other ways to set up the neural networks that do hold, like they tattooed the inside of my daughter's heart tissue. And in the same way, this other dude over here, who's a creator and founder of these special lenses for the eyeballs, which is what John Flynn was partially in trouble for, helping that DOD analyst because they were looking through her eyeballs. The general public doesn't even understand that frequency, they can hear the word frequency, but beyond that, they're lost. And then they want to argue lawfare and all these things. And what is being sold to them with both of these directions that different research is going on, there's no nano, they're not augmenting people, it's all just a distraction. What they're really doing is synchronizing your bioelectricity to their synthetic grid. They have cyborgs, prosthetics, exoskeletons, and augmented humans for 15 years, okay? So while I appreciate the ideation of we just have to get our frequency together and phase lock and be all 0 point, none of you are. The closest that I can get, I gotta be fasting outside, enough oxygen, holding the node and ley line sequencing in my front lawn until the system will physically push me over, cut the oxygen off, and throat punch me from the inside out. Oh, well, that's just you. Oh, really?
There's ways we gotta counteract them fighting our biofield is what I'm starting to get at. Like, they're able to tap into our subconscious conscious field is what I'm starting to get by watching her.
Alright, I keep trying to make it home, but I just keep coming across stuff. This model right here, it's not just a relaying traffic data. It's a frequency relay node. My scans showed it pushes a low C hum. That tone hits your body, sacral, and solar chakras. Translation, it influences your motivational and gut instinct. It pulses behavioral nudges, slight passive, but over time, it builds patterns of apathy, hesitation, self-doubt, a resonance feedback loop. And when I stood here, it flagged me, broke its pattern. All right, this one right here. This one looks harmless, but it acts like a field drape. Dueling emotional expression, it flattens the energy around you. That lump in your throat feeling, that's your throat chakra being compressed by design. Your joy, your voice, your expression power gets muffled, not silenced, just slightly dampened. And over time, it adds up. But right here, they always gotta have these right near these, you know? Right, so this mural, it wasn't a coincidence either. The butterfly is a field harmonizer. Its symmetry, colors, and geometry mirror back higher states of consciousness. My energy bounced off that wall, amplified, anchored, redirected. The mural is acting like a soul memory lock. So when I walked through this area, I didn't just decode the signal, I changed it. So if you're wondering what all this means, it's simple. The grid is active, the boxes speak, and some of us were meant to wake it up. Don't be afraid to stand in your signal.
Can suddenly see how the human voice has potential to create infinitely. That with our voice, we have the potential to create everything and anything we can imagine. Everything in creation spins and vibrates. Everything has its own prime resonance frequency. Everything. Sound is the source of all creation. Sound and resonance is responsible for everything. It is the breath of the Creator, the prime resonance frequency, and the source code for everything in creation, including our DNA. Check out Dan Winter's work on that as well, how cymatics and sound helps to form and shape our DNA and the structure of our DNA based on the cymatics. And that word cymatics, it comes from Hans Jenny in the 50s and 60s, the brilliant work that he did and showed us how sound and resonance is responsible for everything in creation. This is the most basic fundamental demonstration how sound and resonance manifests into physical form. And I just cannot get enough of it. I can watch it millions of times. Every frequency has its own specific shape, a prime resonance frequency. Are you only looking at a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional effect?
This looks like there's something up to go no good, like a Solomon seal or something. Looks like we got a little Hebrew there. Yeah, this can't be too good.
And then Eric Larson is the guy that created the CymaScope, and this is when you can suddenly see how the human voice has potential to create infinitely. That with our voice, we have the potential to create everything and anything we can imagine. That we are indeed creators. And remember, every thought you have, also has a frequency and a vibration, as a resonance, just like your voice. And some of these pictures, the images of this Cinescope images, tell us that it was these sounds, the images of the sound, that actually inspired religious symbols. That beautiful cross in a circle at the center of some of these cymatic photographs give us a very clear indication that the creators of the religious symbols knew exactly what they were talking about, that the source of creation is sound itself. And that takes us to what sound does. Sound pretty much does everything you can imagine because it's a source of creation. This is from Hans Jenny's brilliant video, Cymatics. This is powder on a metal plate. It's not a liquid or a jelly. It's powder. You can see landscapes being formed here over extended periods of time. Mountains can form, valleys, volcanoes, all to do with the sound of the earth coming out of the earth.
Here is the effect of vibration on a specific substance, Lycopodium powder, or spores of the club moss. We have strewn it uniformly on a diaphragm of stretched paper with a diameter of about 30 centimeters, which we now excite by vibration. This causes the powder to clump, and the more intense the vibration, the more piles there are. If the note is louder, that is to say, if the amplitude is increased, these masses of powder move to the center and make a kind of dust cloud there. They are not at rest, but in a state of continuous motion.
What is going on? Because we look at how these two fuse right here. That is interesting.
But in a state of continuous motion. We can see a large circular shape forming in the middle and continuously moving. Sometimes it is whipped up into a cloud, as it is now, and sometimes it reverts to the solid dust particle form. These changes are caused by the differences in the intensity of the tone, that is, by the different amplitudes. In this experiment, the frequency, that is to say, the number of vibrations per second, is the same. And now we see the circular form and everything in a definite pattern of movement.
So the original people of Australia have a creation story that says time began when the supernatural beings awoke and broke through the surface of the earth. So imagine the surface of the earth being something like this, that metal plate being the surface of the earth, and the supernatural beings broke through the surface of the earth, and they created the surface of the earth with 3 sacred songs. So it's interesting that I linked this to the Aboriginal people or original people of Australia and the 3 sacred songs, and it's very similar to this picture that I took from an aeroplane flying over Western Australia, and you can start seeing how the kind of landscape would have been formed from the cymatics of the sound of the earth itself.
So that's Australia lore. 3 giants broke through the earth and sung a sacred song. Interesting.
Ancient civilizations understood sound and frequency, and they used it for everything. They used it as a tool, and they also used it to control and manipulate humanity. This is nothing new. We know by now that the pineal gland is pretty much what represents the all-seeing eye of Horus. It's a receiver, it's a transmitter, it's a powerful tool that we should be using, but we're not because it was manipulated with. The medicine wheel is a cross in a circle that represents sound, that primordial source of sound, that shows that the Native American healers knew that sound could cure and could heal. Royal Raymond Rife, you should know by now, that cured with the man that found the cure with sound and resonance, and were converted to electric impulse. Lakovsky, the multiple wave oscillator, that has got an incredible record of curing. Sound continues to amaze us. Sound can levitate. By now, you would have seen this many times, just the very quick idea that sound actually does levitate things. But this is not how the ancients used to levitate the very big, heavy objects. This is a very different technique used here. This is just pressure waves that can levitate the very light objects, but it does give you the ability to imagine that sound actually levitates. John Keely levitated stuff and drilled sound holes with sound in 1888 already. Peter Davy boiled water with sound since 1940. Sound creates what's known as a star in a jar, called sonoluminescence. When you take a sphere of water and you expose it to certain frequencies, it gives off a very, very bright light at the center of the water, called a star in a jar, which is just absolutely not.
Yeah, that Solum science, that's fascinating. Makes you wonder how stars could be created in water.
Really not quite what it is. And sound creates hurricanes. There are two guys in 2003 that lodged a patent to create hurricanes out of sound. Believe it or not. Luc Montagnier, 2011, spontaneously generated DNA in water with sound frequencies. This is just spectacular stuff, right? So now you can see how we can manifest things. We become creators and can manifest anything with sound. I guess this is probably one of the best descriptions of the nature of our reality and around us. The fractal, multidimensional, toroidal nature of reality. That's a mouthful. This is what a complete and balanced toroidal magnetic field looks like. And what it does, it has an accretion disk in the middle. There you can see that yellow accretion disk. That's the center of the magnetic field. Whichever way you turn it, it's the same. As above, so below. We start to understand some of these basic fundamentals of creation, all coming from the breath of God, the breath of the Creator, the words that we utter. Everything that we say and create has the same effect, creating these complete, perfect magnetic fields. This is some of the most beautiful new work, being able to actually see what a magnetic field looks like through the Faro lens. This is quite a new discovery, only about 10 years old. Now we can actually see what magnetic fields look like. This is when you look at a torus. This is what a torus magnetic field looks like. You can see the magnetic fields. Some people would call this the ley lines on the surface of the Earth. You can actually see the magnetic fields. So I'm suggesting that people that are reading ley lines are actually picking up the magnetic fields that crisscross the toroidal field of our planet. When you look at the cone-shaped magnetic field under a ferrocell, look at this. When you take a ferrocell and you put it over a speaker, like a speaker magnet, look what it does. These beautiful cone shapes that face the middle, just like what?
Wow. So he's suggesting that the magnetic fields are actually the ley lines of the Earth. That's an interesting theory.
Just like this guy's wristwatch. Can you start seeing why I'm suggesting that these guys were using technology? It was in their wristwatches, they had the cones, all to do with magneticism and sound. We just never saw it like that until we got the ferrocell given to us. And when you bring a magnet towards a ferrofluid, what does the ferrofluid do? It forms beautiful cones and just stick right out the ferrofluid. And now you start seeing how sound and magneticism plays a role in nature, in structuring the flowers and the shapes of trees, and everything around us is driven by sound and the magnetic fields that actually create the shapes around us. And this is where we realize that sound and magneticism is inextricably connected. It's sound that creates magnetic fields, and moving magnetic fields create electricity. It's in that order that creation seems to happen. So we don't live in an electromagnetic universe, we live in a magneto-electric universe. So magnets give off sound. We all know what speakers are. So there you go, you got electricity, it comes out of a plug, it runs down a wire, it goes into a speaker, a magnet, the magnet reacts, and the magnet makes the air move and creates sound. And the reverse is possible as well. It works one way and it works the other way. And this is where we start getting into the real understanding of some of the masters. Everything manifests as a torus in a toroidal field, and including sound. And this is what sound looks like when it manifests as a toroidal field. Sound, just like everything else, manifests as a toroidal field, as a torus. And this is why when our hearts beat, we create a toroidal field around our body. And that toroidal field creates an electromagnetic field around our body. And
they say that our heart, if you unravel your heart, it's a vortex. When they unraveled it, they realized that it was a vortex.
so it goes. This is what the toroidal fields look like, or that are created by the sounds we make when we speak. And phenomenal research and work has been done to show us what the different toroidal shapes and fields look like of different letters and different sounds, especially vowels. And then as we speak, these toroidal fields that we manufacture and we create with our mouths, infinite forms, infinite shapes, infinite creativity that we manifest, actually become scalar waves and scalar technology that go into all of creation and permeate all of creation instantly. It doesn't take light years for the thoughts we have or the words we speak to permeate all of creation. It happens instantaneously because sound and resonance traverses all of creation instantly. Not like light that takes time to travel through what we believe to be the cosmos. And here the toroidal shapes of color, incredible work shows us that the different kind of structures and toroids that color actually creates and how it manifests in different and the various sacred geometrical patterns that we've become familiar with. And here's the brilliant work of Eric Rankin, and I really suggest you watch his Sonic Geometry documentary. It's fantastic. It's just watch it. It's a half an hour long on YouTube. Watch that. It'll give you a lot more information. But this is how basic shapes, triangles and shapes in nature, how they all have sound and resonance. This is the sound of nature around us. Every time you look at something that's carved out in a rock or a symbol or the caduceus, everything carries its frequency. And actually, when you're looking at it, you're picking up the image, and the sound is entering your subconscious through the fact that you're observing and looking at it. So it has an effect on you. So when people say, oh, it was just a stupid symbol. No, it has a severe effect on you and your subconscious, but you're just not aware that it's affecting you because you're picking up the sound frequencies of that image. So keep in mind, not only your thoughts are powerful tools, but the images and the words you write are powerful tools. The words that we write. This is why the original letters of the Hebrew alphabet, the 22 letters, are very specific shapes and size and forms. Each letter is actually a two-dimensional representation of the three-dimensional sound of that letter. It's been reduced to 2D. Now you get a better understanding of how that is possible. So the tools that have been given to us of thought, of language, of vocabulary, of letters, of the alphabet, are powerful tools, and this is why wizards and witches could cast spells with their spelling, right? Cast spells, and we do spelling at school, so we're actually learning to cast spells without realizing what we're doing. And this stuff is just so brilliant. When you start breaking this knowledge and this information down, you get into the deeper understanding of the power that we have, the incredible, powerful beings that we are, because we are one with God. We are one with the Creator. We come from the same creative source. And we are all.
And now they're tapping into our subconscious, like how we're feeling, the sounds that are coming from our bodies subconsciously. They're hijacking it by the sounds of it.
All right, guys, I want you to pay attention to the Matrix in live time right here. All right, this is literally city code, guys. Coding. First, right here, this is a red fire tag. This isn't just some utility marker, it's the access stamp, the entry point to the resonance field. Look, it's before anything they register your heat. Fire is the first elemental scan. That's how they read your charge before you enter. The ID graffiti, identity lock, and mesh gate. Once you walk past here, the whole field knows who you are. Not your name, your resonance code. That's the moment they stop you from being water and start shaping you into a little fish. Then boom, downtown. Look at that metal. Corrosion. You're in. This is the front cover. The show. Lights, sounds, heat, motion. All sync to pull energy out of the crowd. This is where the fish gather, thinking they're choosing to be here. They don't realize it's a loop pool, not a free stream. Now, y'all guys can break all this down if you want. We got another access. We got another access to another resonance zone. Look. Tap, 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 sanctum, ghost ship. But this right here, this is the real gate, the Grand. Guarded by spiral ironwork. That ain't just for show. It's an antenna grid. The metal catches and holds your frequency. And look up. The crest with the faces, it's a seal. That's the guardian mark. The whole entry is a harmonic signature lock. Once you pass it, your energy is already stored. And you want to see shit in real life time, huh? Y'all guys are familiar with let's see. Boom. Then you got Tesla. Plate says MK71. Mind Key Puzzle 71. And it's a Model 3. Parked dead center. That's a G coil code. Anchoring scalar loops to keep the circuit tight. This Tesla is more than a car. It's a resonance stabilizer. It pulls in stray thought forms and plugs them back into the field. Ghost ship marking. The last name on the parking site. This is the Grand, and the illusion. The downtown is the lore. Ghost ship is where the forgotten ones go. The energy from the little fish who never break free, stored, archived, and repurposed. Ghost ship is where the lost signal loops forever. Sorry guys about the camera. Trying to be kind of secrecy. There's some rather cartella looking people around. Alright. Now, UFO. Slapped next to a detour. This is the decay code. When one fish starts seeing the pattern, the system tries to redirect. UFO.
Is he trying to break out the Matrix?
Traceable frequency output. They hide real structures behind this kind of false disruption. The detour, that's not traffic, that's your mind. It ties into this building. We've been here before, right? We already know how this one works, right? See that metal band across the top too? The whole place is held with a metal band. That's a scalar containment loop. The band holds the whole building's harmonic resonance. It keeps the signal tight, bouncing it through the structure like a tuning fork. Everyone walking under it is stepping into the field. Stay with me, guys. Because here's how they get it all into the air. You got a sketch back alley, right? And you got another ID. That's a mirror code. You see? One end of the block to the other, right? One end of the block. You see those people looking? They didn't like the intention. He doesn't like if he's being recorded. Studio 1. You go look at the other video and look at the names on the board by the door. Fat Babes of Phoenix, The Basement, then there's Grid Talk on it. But you see that dish up there? This is where we end it. This is the broadcast of current. The signals you thought
There is a dish up there. Okay, I see it. I was looking up there, but it's right here.
were choices, thoughts, cravings, moments of fate, all of it coming from here. This is the mouth of the river, and everything you've seen, every light, tag, gate, loop, it's all coming from this point. The little fish don't even know they're in the water, but once you see the dish, you become the wave.
It's like there was subtle symbology in real life that's showing him that they're trying to steal our subconscious thoughts, is what I'm getting from this.
Where are you moving?
He said, what was that? I don't know. He said, man, a fallen angel just came down. What happened? Then captured on reflection.
What the hell?
Something looked at him and ran.
All of the streetlights are over 15 feet. If you take an LED light and you put it on a streetlight over 15 feet, it will light itself. That is the magic of atmospheric energy. It's all there. So how about this? We have this whole climate narrative. Save the climate using LED light bulbs. What's not being talked about is that if a light bulb is over 15 feet high, it can actually gather electrostatic energy or atmospheric energy and light itself. So they push us and try to tell us that we need these light bulbs in order to save the planet, but in reality, the light bulbs can light themselves with free energy. A lot of stuff that we're just not taught. Everything's always in a spin. And then this is his thing. What do these look like? These look like crop circles. And these also look like a medicine wheel. It's almost like someone's telling us something, but we're just not picking up on it. We're not seeing it. They say, I believe the mind is blind when the eyes cannot see. I think that's the quote. But that kind of looks like a medicine wheel. Then we have some electromagnetic motors. There's some other ones too for you guys to look into. Cool topic. All
street lights over 15 feet collecting etheric energy to stay on. It's an amazing idea. I love it.
This is the Taj Mahal. This is a mausoleum in India. And according to the fake information on Google and Wikipedia, they built this in 1631 to 1653 by hand. And guess what? This structure, this mausoleum is built with marble. Marble. And they mined this marble 250 miles away. And they hauled the marble using elephants and oxen, putting the marble on carts and pulling it 250 miles away. You know how many trips it would take to do this? I don't think that they did this by hand. Look at this structure.
We can literally type in with AI how long it would take with using elephants and oxen, and we can get a good estimate with AI.
Look how beautiful, amazing, symmetrical. This thing is 240 feet tall. They had no power tools, no heavy machinery, no bulldozers, no cranes or anything like that. They just had hammer, chisel, mallets, pickaxes, scaffolding, and they were able to get these marble blocks and bricks to look perfect, perfectly cut and square. That's fake information. That's fake history. They had technology. They had lasers. And there's no way they did a 250-mile trip using animals like that. They must have had a way to transport these blocks more efficiently. You see the detailing here? You see the detailing? Look at that. They did that by hand. This is lasering. It's perfect. It's perfect. Repeated throughout. This detailing here is not done by hand. There's no way it is. And I know people are going to pull up that marble guy, that hand chiseler modern dude. The whole building looks like this, though. That's the problem with, the Matrix believers when they try to provide proof or explanations. The whole building is perfect. Look at this. This is called a Messerat, I believe. Look at that, man. Like the blocks are curved. They're curved blocks. They hand chiseled out of the quarry curved like that? How did they get the blocks to be curved, to be, you know, cylindrical? How'd they do that? Look at that. Look at this detailing here. See all this? And of course, there's a little antenna at the top for the ether. This is a pre-reset building. This is like a Tartarian type of building. I don't think the Tartarian Empire was one empire. I think it was a civilization where they had the same type of technology and similar architecture. I don't think it was one thing led by one dude or one lady. I don't think that. I think it was just multiple different countries with the same tech. This building is a pre-reset building, and they did.
That's a good theory. You know, like they all had the same technology, but India had to be the coldest. If you look at their structures and how they spin.
Did not build this by hand. The information on Wikipedia is cap. It's fake. It's a lie. Okay? So, look at this. This was built with technology. Lasers. How did they haul all this marble? Like, this really went back and forth. One trip is 250 miles there and back. Well, no, 500 miles there and back. And we're supposed to believe that. We just accept that. No, absolutely not. They had technology. This is a pre-reset. This is a Tartarian era building. All right? The point of this video is to get you to open your eyes and question the mainstream, because they're withholding information, and history, most of it is skewed or made up or something. All right? So, and we're going to get to the truth. That's the thing. All the hidden stuff, all the lies are going to be revealed. They're going to be shown to the light, and we're all going to know the truth coming up real soon about this world that we live in, this realm, if you want to call it. The truth is going to come out.
These are just theories on how this is possibly built. Do your own research on everything.
Electric magnetic circuit board frequency, vibrational, flooded, petrified meltdown of this entire realm. Just a few words to describe what we're seeing. Might be confusing to hear all of those words together in a sentence, but I think that's what we're dealing with. And the main ingredient is brick. So many things change the state of matter, but in most cases it involved brick. It's one of the top spots in a man-made thing that really can't be explained with the narratives that we're given. There's so many in a time period, just say from the 1800s back, that if you think about it, it's impossible. That one word, brick, should lead every true scientist, archaeologist, geologist, historian into asking a lot of questions. Then it should lead to anger, not bad, but an enlightened anger. Possibly a wow moment, and maybe even with your degree. Hey, I'm finding out some truth. That's what I signed up for, right? Getting closer to the truth. Not just some words on a page, but experience. Everything is about trial and error. But the error was actually the indoctrinated school system that we were put through. The indoctrinated school full system is actually like a heavy sedation camp on the mind. It's like where a place you go and they point at the sky and tell you it's red when it's really blue, and you just blindly believe it. So now, instead of standing up and giving pledge to the allegiance of a corporation, let's stand up and give a big middle finger to all the supposed bullies.
One possible theory about these bricks, it could be resets upon resets upon resets. And you're just seeing civilization trying to rebuild itself. I've been seeing a study that bricks can actually conduct electricity. Watch this.
Talk about one of the big parts of the free energy architecture of the old world. Red bricks. That's right. There is a reason why so much of the old world structures are red bricked, and why so much of the buried structures we find are of the red bricked variety. Because they knew something that we are just now catching on to today, or at least being let disclose today. These red bricks could hold an electric charge. Just take a look at some of these articles yourself. You see they disclose a lot of these bits and pieces of old world tech in little back page news article dumps. Ones that many will never see, and it's forgotten just as quick. Red bricks, some of the world's cheapest and most familiar building materials, can be converted into energy storage units that can be charged to hold electricity, like a battery, according to new research. Is it really new research, or repurposed technology from the old world? Red electric brick roads, red electric brick walls. Sadly, I wouldn't hold too much hope for this technology coming out in the mainstream anytime soon. Cheap, energy-efficient bricks.
It literally says electric on it. Look at that.
That can store electricity. Well, there's no profit in that. Especially with the red bricks already there. The ones that aren't covered up with some cheap facade or concrete. That is why most of the old world buildings they did still keep like this. They rushed to cover up with some ugly facade. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
I mean, what more proof do we need? It says it.
Represented the Skull and Bones Society represented as a hog-nosed bat. And if you take the measurement between here and here, when you fold the $1 bill in this exact format, it's 2.5 or 2 5/8 of an inch. Okay, it's actually 2 5/8 of an inch. Depends on which one of these lines you measure from. But the real size of a fully grown hog-nosed bat is 2 5/8 of an inch. God-like deities from pre-existing civilizations on the dollar bill. Aside from the pre-existing civilizations on the dollar bill, of course, they put the skull and bones on the dollar bill, which we went into and which we will go into in much greater depth in another video. And that skull and bones is placed inside the face of a hog-nosed bat, which represents the Skull and Bones Society, which represents the control of the monetary funds of the world. There are 3 stars on the flag of Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is represented by Bohemian Grove. The second star represents the square mile in England, or the Bank of England. And the third star represents none other than the Ark of the Covenant itself that sets on the $1 bill.
Rensselaer County right there, the Grand Master, Stephen Van Rensselaer, and Henry Hudson was a Freemason. This is the Hudson River. Okay, this right here, this is Mystery Babylon, Revelation 17.5. Right here, this is the harlot that's sitting right on the what? Waters, okay? See the water right here? It says Waterford underneath this. This is all right in Scripture, okay? A lot of people cannot prove Scripture real time. This is real time linked to Scripture. All right, we're going to take you right to the book of Revelation right here. It says, Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters. This is Ishtar, or Inanna, from Babylon, Iraq, okay? What's on this lady's forehead up there, sitting right on the water? This is Inanna, or Ishtar, sitting on a Corinthian pillar. Okay, you see how it says Waterford? This is the Mohawk to Hudson River. This is one of the main routes up north to the Star Fort in Lake Champlain. Okay, this is real time, right? You can see her right here. Mystery Babylon, the mother of harlots. On her forehead, a name who was written. Right, you see the horn on her head up there? The pentagram. It's funny you mentioned that. In wintertime, they ran Christmas lights off of these two light posts, and after Christmas time they inverted the light right here to form an upside down pentagram. Okay, this is the harlot of Babylon in Revelation 17.5, sitting right on the waterfront, right across from the Mason hole. I'm gonna blare it at them.
17:5, and upon her forehead a name written as secret, Babel the Great, and the mother of the and the abominations of the earth. I'll let y'all read that. Here, let me flip it horizontal so you can read it. It says Revelation. I have no idea why that says Hazan. Where was this at? The Hudson River? That's absolutely insane.
This shit is yo. The architecture in this bitch. Damn. You can say what you want, bro. But this shit right here looks like some other next level shit. Y'all see that top piece? Now, if you go over where Methanim Hotel, the Marriott, I want y'all, you know, just look up Marriott in Tulsa, and you'll see some of these buildings is extremely masterfully crafted, and they're definitely not.
People waking up, man. That building was extravagant, to be honest.
Built in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when there really was no electricity. Look at this shit. Beautiful building.
This is probably one of the greatest buildings I've ever seen in my life, to be honest with you. I wonder where this is. Oklahoma. In Tulsa, Oklahoma. You guys definitely want to see that structure. What type of self-defense mechanism is this? That's either this is broke or that's some type of defense mechanism for cars. The mother-in-law handle, Model B.
Are we standing in an old world Tartarian building? This is the postal palace of Mexico City. But do we really believe this place was just built to be a post office? Here's the view from the outside. Don't build post offices like this anymore, do they? And there you see the main entrance. There's some interesting sculptures to be found as well. They say it was built in 1907. I reckon this place is a lot older than we're told.
Look at the drawbridge they had in the beginning. How spectacular was that? There it is. Look at that drawbridge they have on this. That is stunning. I've never seen a drawbridge before. Look how it's hooked in with chains. I've never seen that before.
Watching these creepy, scary stories that people are telling on TikTok, and I thought I would share mine. I don't really tell it often because people either don't believe me or think I'm crazy, but I promise this happened. This was 1986, and I was about 16, 17 years old at the time, and I was being raised by a very strict Czechoslovakian father. I was not allowed to sleep over people's houses. They weren't allowed to sleep over mine, and I definitely wasn't allowed to go away by myself. So when my friend, who had just gone to college, told me that her roommate's boyfriends were coming up and that I could catch a ride with them to spend the weekend, I didn't think there was a chance in heck that I'd be able to go. But I said a quick little prayer. See, I was raised Roman Catholic, but I am now spiritual and consider myself a recovering Catholic. But I said a prayer. And my father said yes. Now that was a miracle in itself. But there's more. Go, spend the weekend. Everything is great. It's Sunday. We left a little later than we should have, so it was pretty dark by the time we were leaving. And we were on the road for a little while, and he blows a tire. Now this is upstate New York, 1986, pitch black. There are no street lights. There's nothing going on. There's just farms, apple fields and stuff. So we remembered that it was about 15 minutes since we passed an exit, and we were going to have to walk back because remember, at this time, there's no cell phones. So we get out of the car, we start walking. Now, maybe one or two cars went by, and every time the cars went by, you would see snakes go in front of you, little rodents around. So I started praying like I'd never prayed before. I was petrified. I'm with two boys I don't know in the middle of nowhere, and I was petrified. So we are walking a couple of minutes, and we run across an exit. Now we all look at each other like, the last exit we passed was a while ago. There's no way we walked that far this quickly. But we head up the exit. And at the end of that exit was, all I can explain it was, right out of a Hallmark movie. It was a little town, quaint little town, but it was late, so everything was closed. Except this diner that was up at the end, and it was neon lights, an old train car, right out of a Hallmark Christmas movie. And when we walked inside, it felt loving and welcoming and warm, and there were people and they were chatting, and everything was amazing, like right out of a movie. So the waitress behind the counter says, "What's up?" And we explained that we had just blown a tire on the highway and we had to call AAA or whatever we were going to do. And the guy sitting at the counter turns and says, "Listen, I have a bunch of tires up at my farm. hop in my truck with me and we'll go see if one works for your car. So he leaves, and it's me and the other guy. And I sit down, and the waitress puts down this hot cocoa in front of me that was heaven sent. It was this big mug with lots of whipped cream on top, and I'm drinking it, and it was the most amazing hot chocolate. And I never felt scared there. I never felt like anything was going to happen to me. It was like an amazing feeling. So after I drink the hot chocolate, I realized that I have to call my father and let him know that I was going to be late. And then I called my friend and I mentioned where I was. And I was like, you never told me about this cute town. And she says, what cute town? And I said, well, we've been on the road, 30 minutes? And we blew the tire and there's this beautiful, quaint town. She goes, Michelle, no, I don't know of anything out there except apple fields. So I was like, well, we're here. That's strange. Okay. I get back. The guy had brought the other boy back, got the tire for the car, put it on the car, wouldn't take a dime. The waitress sends us home with a little snack bag, and we get on our way and leave. So I make it home. Everything's great. And I call my friend to let her know I made it home. She said, Michelle, I have a map out, 1986. There is no town there. There's no town there. So the next weekend when she drove back, she drove the same amount of distance and there was no exit there. I think it was angels because of the warmth and comfort and took care of us and wouldn't take a dime from us. And it was just this, if I had to make a town to make me feel safe, that was it. Does it exist? Did it happen? I promise you it did.
What do you think? Did she go through a town? Was it an alien abduction? Did the angels carry her off? Was there something in the cocoa? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
The fastest way to break someone down is by constantly correcting them, even over the smallest things. You might think you're just being helpful, but correction is often criticism in disguise. And over time, it chips away at a person's confidence. Have you ever seen someone who was bright and curious as a child, but grew up to be quiet, unmotivated, and anxious? It's not because they were born lazy, it's because they were overcorrected. Psychology has an explanation for this. The human brain has a self-protection mechanism that helps us grow and adapt, but constant correction shuts that mechanism down. For example, maybe you're tired and lying on the couch scrolling your phone, and someone says, "That's bad for your eyes." Or you're doing your homework and they say, "Sit up straight. Why are you sitting like that?" You clean the room and still hear, "You can't even do this simple thing, right?" These may seem like small comments, but over time they add up. Eventually your brain starts whispering, "I can't do anything right." So you stop trying. You start procrastinating. You avoid making decisions. On the surface, you might look lazy, but in reality, you're just exhausted from constantly being judged. And this doesn't only happen in childhood. It can show up in adult relationships too. When your partner constantly corrects you, it's not care. It's control disguised as concern. Over time, you stop trusting yourself. You second guess everything. You can't make decisions. You feel anxious, heartbroken, and helpless. But here's the truth. The problem isn't you. It's the other person's need for control. They're afraid of losing it, so they micromanage everything you do. That's not love, it's manipulation. Real love gives you space. It encourages you, helps you grow, and allows you to make mistakes. Because true growth comes from self-correction, not from someone watching your every move. So if you're stuck in this kind of cycle, it's time to wake up.
I never really thought about it like that. It's very important to build confidence. That's all we have for today's video. The code word today is Super Thursday Vibes. Drop Super Thursday Vibes in the comments below if you made it all the way through. That shows me you a real one. You made it to the end of the video, and I just want to say thank you for your support. I'm Jesky Chuck, and this was Mysterious TikToks that might just keep you up all night. Till next time.